sea serpent Selma has been depicted in the coat of arms of Selford since 1989. Designed by sculptor Trig Magnus Barstad, the arms show Selma in a gold collar on a red background. The sea serpent has been discussed for a long time, and there have been witness descriptions of encounters, especially on hot, quiet summers. The oldest written account of the creature dates from 1750, when it was said to have rounded a rowboat belonging to a man from Bow rowing across the Alveds to Nez. Selma is a lake monster situated near Telemark, Norway, and Lake Selford Savannet, a 12-mile long and 1.5-mile wide body of icy cold water formed by glaciers during the last ice age. As far back as the late 1750s, reports of a large reptilian creature living in the lake have circulated around the region. Eyewitness reports, which today number over 500, generally described the creature, dubbed Selma by the locals, as a 30 to 45-foot long serpent-like creature. Resembling a large anaconda, some reports even include several humps on its back. One early documented account of an encounter with Selma dates back to 1880, when a man named Bjorn Bjorge and his mother Gunhild were said to have cut and attacking Selma in half. According to this report, the lower portion of the creature squirmed back into the lake, while the front half was left to rot on the shore. Early one morning in the summer of 1918, with fine weather and a mirror-like surface on the water, Carl Carlson walked down to the bridge at Sandnes to try. It came so close, and Carl Carlson was so scared that he threw down his fishing rod and ran. He described the animal's head as that of a horse. It was held about 3 feet out of the water. When the animal came within 150 feet of the bridge, it stopped, sank straight down, and disappeared. That summer, Torgel Borge found large meat-like chunks, like from a serpent creature, floating on Lake Seljervet, close to Sadness. On another occasion, he saw an animal on the beach, resembling a crocodile, which quickly vanished into a pile of stones. 2 years later, Evanid Fudstuffed went out on Sennasadden to fish. It was an unusually warm, calm day with an unbroken surface. When he came to the point, he saw a strange animal on its way out of the lake and onto the cliffs. It turned back when Evanid came towards it and slipped down into the water. He described the animal as 15 to 20 meters long, with a narrow neck and a head resembling the head of a crocodile. The animal was black in color and had fin-like feet at the front part, right below its neck. He saw no eyes or mouth, but the animal turned its head from side to side and seemed to scout and listen. When it discovered Evanid, it quickly went back into the water again. In 1996, 2 men were fishing around dusk on Lake Selvanesnet when the silence was broken by a sudden commotion in the water. A horse-like head attached to a 10-foot-long neck rose from the water. The creature stared at the 2 fishermen from about 8 inches away before slowly submerging back into the water. Early one morning in July 2001, a father and son from Oslo who wished to remain nameless decided to take a quick walk down to the lake for a refreshing swim. When they were about 100 yards away, they noticed something strange on the beach, but assumed that it was either a fallen log or pile of old car tires that had washed ashore overnight. The 2 stopped about 30 feet from the beach as they witnessed what they could only describe as a giant snake just at the water's edge. The animal had its head towards the water, unaware of their presence, but as they watched, the son stumbled, making a noise, and the beast turned its long neck around and stared directly at them. According to these 2 witnesses, who reported to be respected members of their communities, the creature's head was as large as a calf's. The encounter lasted roughly 10 seconds before the beast swung its head back towards the lake and glided into the lake. The 2 described it as having an enormous body, which was at least 30 feet long and was as thick as a car tire. Since 1977, Jan Ove Sundberg, president and founder of GUST, the global underwater search team, has been on the front lines of the search for Selma and many of Norway's other so-called lake monsters, collecting first-hand accounts of the creature as well as leading his team to the lake in attempts to locate Selma using sonar and hydrophones. In August of 2000, Sundberg led a team comprising of international researchers along with 2 Norwegian molecular biologists on a mission to capture a live specimen of the creature known as Selma. The team planned to use the Comet Co-Cooperative Monster Ill Trap, a specially designed monster trap professionally made by Ensvik AS at homes outside Kristiansand on the coast of southern Norway. The trap was named as such to get around the fact that Selma and creatures like her are protected and illegal to catch, or so the Norwegian authorities claim. The comet was 18 feet long, 15 feet in circumference. The creature would never actually react. The fish, however, as they are sectioned by themselves, and when any creature who enters tries to escape the trap, its construction would not allow it to. The idea to use such a trap originally came from limnologist Dr. At Hendar at the Norwegian Institute of Water Research. The plan was to use Comet to capture a juvenile serpent between 3 and 15 feet in length, take DNA and other samples, then tag the creature and release it back into the wild. Molecular biologists at a Norwegian university who were standing by would then analyze the data in order to categorize the creature and determine its genus. Unfortunately, the team and their trap came up empty, but they did get some interesting sonar readings during this trip. Speculations as to what the creature really is have ranged from giant catfish, giant eels, prehistoric relics, and giant anacondas. Although reptiles are not thought to be capable of surviving in waters as cold as Lake Silversnat, some have suggested that a form of reptile may have evolved to survive in such a harsh environment, with Gust leading expeditions to the lake almost every year, and her team of experts growing larger every day. It is only a matter of time before this prestigious crew of explorers brings the identity of Selma to light in an international spotlight, proving the existence of so-called lake monsters to the world.